Origins of Captain Britain. Chosen by Merlin, Brian Braddock became Captain Britain, protector of Great Britain and the Omniverse. He is a founding member and leader of Excalibur, twin brother of the X-Man Psylocke, an agent of MI-13, and is currently Captain Avalon. Born and raised in the quaint English town of Malden in Essex, Brian Braddock lived a quiet life with his family. He has two siblings, elder brother Jamie Braddock and twin sister Betsy Braddock. After his parents' death in what appeared to be a lab accident but was later revealed to be their murder by the sentient computer Sir James Braddock had built, Brian left his family home to study at the Thames University in London. During a term break, Brian worked at Dartmoor Nuclear Research Facility. Whilst working at Dartmoor, the facility is attacked by a villain known as the Reaver, intent on kidnapping the scientists to sell to various dictatorships. Brian escaped and tried to reach help on his motorcycle, but the Reaver, who wanted the authorities to believe the scientists had died in a reactor accident, ran Brian off the road. He crashed down the side of a cliff, and was fatally wounded, but woke to find himself faced by the image of the magician Merlin and his daughter, Roma, then calling herself the Lady of the Northern Skies. This mystical pair offer him the chance to save his life. As the Reaver and his men closed in to finish Brian off, the two mages gave Brian a choice between the Amulet of Right and the Sword of Might. Deciding he wasn't much of a fighter, he selected the amulet and was transformed into Captain Britain, easily defeating the Reaver's men. The Reaver grabbed the sword and was likewise transformed, but despite this Brian still managed to defeat him and rescue Dartmoor's scientist. From then on, whenever Brian wanted or needed to be Captain Britain, all he had to do was touch the Amulet of Right. The police, especially the anti-superhero Di Thomas, didn't like Brian's work as Captain Britain and hated the idea of heroes working in Britain at all. Not long after he became Captain Britain, Brian discovered that his parents were not killed in the manner he previously believed, but by their sentient computer mastermind. Captain Britain later worked with many other heroes and organizations such as Captain America, S.H.I.E.L.D., and the British equivalent, Strike. Brian also battled Captain America's nemesis, the Red Skull. Brian had many encounters with Strike, an agency his sister would later become associated with. Strike, however, was later infiltrated by the criminal Vixens organization, leading to its eventual shutdown. Once, whilst being treated by Strike for serious injuries, Brian was transported to another realm by Merlin. In this realm, Merlin transformed Brian's staff into the Star Scepter, which greatly increased his powers. This new staff kept Brian's original energy blast and force shield related powers but also allowed him to fly. Brian later studied abroad at Empire State University, where he roomed with Peter Parker, though Peter swiftly realized that his British roommate was also the British hero who had turned up in Manhattan. Brian remained none the wiser about Peter's alternate super identity. Multiverse. On his way back from America, Captain Britain was mentally attacked by the Nether Gods, causing him to jump out a plane and disappear for some time. He was eventually found living as a hermit in Cornwall by the Black Knight, who had been sent to look for him by Merlin, but Brian was amnesiac. Merlin instructed him to find and defeat Necromon, whose armies were threatening to invade Otherworld, with only Camelot standing in their way. Shortly after, though, Captain Britain was killed by the White Rider, but Merlin restored him back to life, including his formerly lost memories. Brian worked with Black Knight, elves including Moondog and Jackdaw, a resurrected King Arthur and Otherworld heroes such as Vortigern to successfully defend Otherworld. Captain Britain's powers were once again increased when Merlin merged the powers of the Star Scepter and the Amulet of Right into a new uniform. This new uniform gave Brian a permanent full-body force shield as well as the ability to sustain unaided flight. Captain Britain was transported to a parallel Earth, Earth 238, where he fought to save the world from the reality-warping powers of Mad Jim Jaspers, who had succeeded in killing all the superheroes in that dimension. Brian failed in this task to defeat Jaspers and was killed by the Fury, a highly advanced superhero killing machine made by Jaspers. Merlin secured Brian's remains and rebuilt his body, then resurrected him back on his native Earth 616 to fight his own Earth's Mad Jim Jaspers. Merlin's plan all along was to prepare Brian for the fight that lay ahead in his own dimension and Earth. This preparation included witnessing the annihilation of the 238 universe in order to hopefully stop Jasper's reality warp from spreading across the multiverse. At this time Brian also discovered that he was one of the many Captain Britons created by Merlin to protect the multiverse, and later met members of the pan-dimensional Captain Britain Corps. After winning an election based almost entirely on an anti-superhero campaign, Jaspers became Prime Minister and began to warp London. Captain Britain and his associates fought against Jasper's reign but were losing. Unknown to Brian, however, the Fury of 238, having sensed Brian's resurrection, adapted itself to travel across dimensions in order to seek him out. On arrival, the Fury attacked and killed the Mad Jim Jaspers of that Earth. The Fury was weakened from this battle and was later destroyed by Captain UK, the Captain Britain of Earth 238, the world the Fury came from. After this battle, Brian continued his adventures as Captain Britain until he met his future lover Megan, a shapeshifter. The two continued to fight evil for a while, but eventually Brian decided to hang up his costume and try to retire for a while and live in peace with Megan. Powers and abilities. Captain Britain's powers have changed over time from his first encounter with Merlin to his present-day abilities. Originally his powers were derived from power items such as the Amulet of Right, but have evolved and changed to become the innate magic-based abilities that he has today. When Brian touched the Amulet of Right, he was instantly transformed into Captain Britain. This gave him super strength, stamina, and agility, as well as manifested his staff that possessed the ability to create a force shield and project powerful energy blasts. The Star Scepter was created by Merlin from the original staff. Retaining its other abilities, it also increased Captain Britain's strength and granted him the ability to fly for 15-minute periods. The scepter would also elongate so that it could be used as a staff weapon. In later iterations of the character, Captain Britain's costume served to draw and retain the magical energies that fuel his superhuman abilities. He possesses the ability fly at a consistent speed of 770 miles per hour Mach 1, and his strength was enhanced to a level allowing him to carry around 90 tons. He is also given high degree of invulnerability durability, allowing him to fall from great heights to get hit with bazooka missiles. As well, he gets heightened agility, senses, and reflexes. When Merlin resurrected Captain Britain during the Skrull invasion, he remade him with new powers. Captain Britain is now created from magic, and his power comes from the friction between dimensions. His strength, speed, stamina, and reflexes are still enhanced to superhuman levels, but he does not possess any power items. The new Captain Britain is still near invulnerable and able fly unaided. His power levels now depend on his confidence and willpower, and his full power is as yet unknown. He also has a very powerful unconscious mind, making him near immune to mind control abilities. How powerful Captain Britain now is still unknown, but it is said that he is at least as powerful as he was before his resurrection.